Joining me now is nurse and creator of Nurses in the News, Takara Durrett, who has been also on the ground talking with these striking nurses. So, Takara, thank you so much for your time today. We just heard from James there. I want to take a look at this from both sides. What is it that the nurses are asking for? Why has there been no agreement from the hospitals?
The nurses are, really asking for safe staffing and an end to workplace violence. And that's the part that people are just not talking about. It's bigger than money to these nurses. They can't safely take care of their patients. The ratios are too high, and management is not wanting to come to the table. So nurses did not want to strike, but they had to strike.
And Takara, we know that this is targeting some of the city's leading medical institutions. These are names people have heard of, whether or not they live in New York City. We're talking about New York Presbyterian, Columbia, the main campus of Mount Sinai Hospital. We are also in the midst of this really brutal flu season that's impacting so many Americans. We know patients certainly can't time their illness or their medical emergencies with a strike. So how are hospital executives countering here? How are they ensuring that patients still get the care that they're going to need throughout this strike?
Well, they brought in replacement nurses. So a lot of replacement nurses have shown up to come and fill in those gaps, and they will be there until the strike is over. But it's not like having your own nurses in there that know the community, that know the patients, that know the operations of the hospital. It's just not the same thing. So management is going to need to come to the table if they want safe health care for New Yorkers.
And Takara, as we said, you have been speaking to these striking nurses, getting firsthand accounts here. How long do you think this strike could potentially last?
I think this one could potentially last a long time. When I was out there today, I was at New York Presbyterian. They were very adamant that we are not going to go back in until we get what we want, and we're prepared to stay out here. It's an open-ended strike. So this can go on for weeks, months.
And the governor, Kathy Hochul, signed an executive order on Friday declaring that a disaster is imminent. We know this is also happening as so many New Yorkers lose health insurance, billions of dollars in federal health care funding to the state is now starting to dry up in this new year. Do you think, from your reporting, New York City is on the cusp of a potential healthcare disaster?
I think they're on the cusp of a potential healthcare disaster, definitely. So now is really not the time to push your nurses out of the hospital. It's going to be too much for replacement nurses. And, it's already too much for the nurses that they do have. They need their nurses back inside the hospitals working.
And Takar, before we let you go, I would just like you to talk more about the potential threat of workplace violence, which is very real. And talk more about that. Talk about some of the instances that have actually been documented and why that really does have a lot of these nurses fearful for their safety.
Yeah, I know there was just an incident that happened at Brooklyn Methodist where there was a shooting inside the hospital. A patient escalated to where the police had to get involved, and nurses were afraid. And nurses reported to me that they didn't even know this was going on in the hospital. They didn't even know, they had no idea this was going on in the hospital. And definitely with the ERs being more overcrowded, that's where patients escalate the most. And they're going to take it out on the nurses because the nurses are on the front lines. It's going to get worse before it gets any better.
We really hope that there is some sort of resolution here. Takara Durrett, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.